Hey, Richard here. Thanks very much for joining me on probably the shortest flight I've ever had. So, England came out of lockdown to enter into another lockdown. We are currently in Tier 2 lockdown where I live and where the airfield is, which, thankfully, reopens up flying. Woohoo! Needless to say, lots of pilots were itching to get their birds back up in the air, but sadly, the weather was less than ideal. I decided to head up to Compton anyway, even if only to start the engine up and get the oil flowing around again. Maybe doing some taxiing too, just to make sure all the controls are working a-okay and the wheels haven't seized up. My father-in-law Rod joined me as he was super keen to go up in the Sundowner, although I did warn him the weather's not looking good for a flight. Still, it would be nice to meet up for a tea and a bacon roll at the very least. Arriving at Compton at 9 AM, the cloud level was around 2,000 feet, as expected. The forecast warned of clouds around 1,400 feet coming in at midday. The Compton circuit height is 1,600 feet, so if any flying was to be done, it would need to be done as soon as possible. I was very much in two minds and waited to see if any school aircraft and resident pilots would be venturing up. We got the Beechcraft prepped and started, got her fueled up and observed as all the flight school warriors headed up, and even had some visiting pilots coming in, all encouraging signs. The circuit had good visibility, but the clouds seemed a bit lower, but still above circuit height. At the very least we could head up, keep the flight local and do a circuit and land if we had to. So, decision made, I asked for airfield information and proceeded to runway 26.
Okay, Rod, are you okay?
Yeah,
Ready to go?
Mind the sheep.
Right, it's going to be a bit bumpy, just to pre-warn you. Right, here we go.
Golf November Yankee downwind 264, touch and go.
Yeah, clouds are a bit low.
Absolutely fantastic.
On taking off, I left the circuit to the west but quickly ran out of altitude, with a cloud base at around 1,700 feet.
Got traffic off from towers, you climb safe to the west, stay on
Right.
This wasn't comfortable at all, as I was flying at circuit height, and looking to the west, the clouds looked even lower. If you've watched my previous video titled "Is Flying Dangerous?", you'll know I've done considerable research into the causes of aviation accidents.
Right, should you fly over Alderhole? Should you go over your house?
Yeah, happy.
One of the biggest general aviation killers is visual flight rules pilots like me flying into clouds and losing control of their aircraft.
Yeah, clouds are a bit crap, aren't they?
What's the height now?
What's the what?
What height are we?
1,600 feet. Can't really go by tyre.
I knew right away that these are not favourable flying conditions, particularly for a low hours pilot like myself, so I circled back towards Compton. this flight was over.
Sorry, can't go up much more. It's just too cloudy.
Trying to work out moving forward.
Compton parking for you.
Yeah, field's just over on the left.
Yeah.
Just where that line of black trees is.
That's it.
Okay, clouds are low. I'm going to have to head back, Rod. The clouds are coming in. Got the radio Golf Bravo Alpha Romeo Sal. It's returning from the south. This is pressing airfield information.
26 right hand, QSD 9 and 9 and 3.
26 right hand, QSD 9 and 9 and 3. Sorry, Rod. The clouds are coming in.
No, it's fine.
Just about to go inside.
I'm still enjoying it.
Joining the circuit crosswind, the clouds were pushing me down to 1500 feet, with rain now hitting the windshield. The worsening conditions were making me quite uncomfortable, but the airfield was clearly visible, and if necessary I could adopt the bad weather circuit taught to me during my training and get her down quickly.
Copy traffic Golf Romeo Sal is crosswind. Yeah, when the visibility's this low, it gets a bit sketchy.
I pressed on with the regular circuit and turned downwind.
Copy traffic Golf Romeo Sal is downwind. See the airfield?
Yeah. Planes are coming in quite fast, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, now I was getting worried. The cloud was even lower here and we were skating the bottom of it. I bailed out of completing the full length of the downwind leg and did an early right base and dropped altitude.
Right base 26, Golf Romeo Sal. It's cleaned up a bit now.
The field was still clearly in sight and I joined final and landed her without incident.
Golf Romeo Sal, final 26 to land.
73, westerly 5 knots.
Back on the ground, I had a big sense of relief, but I was also a bit disappointed I couldn't give Rod a decent flight around, but he seemed to enjoy himself regardless.
Copy traffic Golf Romeo Sal, runway vacated.
Good work.
Oh, that was fun.
That was good. Yep, I enjoyed it.
We'll go for a longer flight next time.
Incredibly, we watched as another resident pilot took off and did a circuit in his Tiger Moth, disappearing into the clouds momentarily on crosswind before nosing her back down to get her out of the clouds, bringing her around and landing her. Wow, crazy stuff. So, lesson learned. Marginal conditions like this really aren't worth it. Stay on the ground. Okay, that's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button and make a comment below. And if you haven't done so already, please do consider subscribing. Be great to have you on board. Bye for now. Hope you liked the video. And if you did, please hit the like button. Even better, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. See you next time.